Year 3, back to our investigation of volume. And remember, this is the volume of a solid, not the volume of a liquid. Okay, so we measure it in centimetres cubed, or if it was a really large object, we would measure it in metres cubed. Okay, let's have a look at this set of blocks we've got here. Okay, we've got one over here, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now there is probably going to be another one underneath here that we can't see, because otherwise this set of blocks of 2 here would fall down. Okay, so I think we've got to assume that there is another block underneath. Okay, now we can count these blocks, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and the hidden one 8, and say that that is taking up 8 centimetres cubed. However, we can't use our calculations for it like we did yesterday because it's irregular. Okay, we have got a different number on the next level. Okay, so yesterday when we were doing them, we were having the same number on each one. This one we couldn't calculate it like we did yesterday because the bottom row has got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the second row has got 2, and the third row has got 3. So it needs for us to use our formula of volume equals length times width times height, or area times height, then it all needs to be in a rectangular prism. So when we look at our rectangular prism, here we've got our base layer, and our base layer will have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So from area, we know that area times width times length, so the number of cubes in one layer will be 3 times 3, which equals 9. And on our first layer, we will have 1. So the total number of cubes on our first layer is 9. And on our next layer, we're going to do the same again. Look, we've got another layer here with 9. This time we can see the back so we can count them all. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So our number of layers is 2. And 9 times 2 equals 18. And you can see from the picture we've got a group of 9 here, and then we've got a second group of 9 sitting on top of it. If we were to keep building it, we would still have 9 on the base with 3 rows, and 3 9s are 27. And I'll do one more because we did do a lot of these yesterday. Another layer of 9, and 4 times 9, or 4 layers with 9 in each layer, is 4 times 9 is 36. Okay, and so on we would go using our 9 times table to work that out. Okay, let's have a look at our step in. Here's another irregular base, not a prism. Okay, we've got 1, 2, 3 in the bottom that we can see, but we would probably have another one underneath here because that block, those 2 blocks there must be sitting on top of another block. So we've got 1, 2, 3 plus another one is 4. And our second row is 2, and our third row is 3. So it's not a rectangular prism. So we can't use our formula of volume equals length times width times height to calculate it. We would have to calculate each of those layers separately. But now we've got one that we can calculate. Okay. How could you work out the number of cubes used to make this object? Well, we would count the base. We have got 1, 2 on the length or on the width, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 on the length. So width times length is 2 times 4, which equals 8. And we've got 2 layers, so it would be 8 times 2. Number of cubes in the base is 8. Number of layers is 2. Number of cubes altogether will be 2 times 8 equals 16. Okay, and we just use our multiplication to work out how many centimetres cubed in a solid rectangular prism. Okay, let's have a look at our maths book. You've got some here. Use centimetres cubed to make each object. Well, if you've got blocks at home, you can do that. Otherwise, you can just use the pictures. Don't forget with these ones, there's going to be some in here that are hidden. Okay, you can see the one on the end here, but there is going to be one underneath each of those layers there. Okay, now because these aren't rectangular prisms, you're going to need to count the number of cubes. Well, this one is a rectangular prism, so you could use, well, it's not a rectangular prism, but it has got the same base going up all the way. Okay, so when it's not a rectangular prism, we need to count each layer. Okay, these ones are rectangular prisms, so we can work it out. On the bottom row, we have got 1, 2, 3, 4. We have got, so it's 1 times 4, and then a height of 3. Okay, number of cubes in one layer, number of layers, total number of cubes altogether for A, B, and C. Okay, so they're not asking you to build it up this time, the first layer, then the second layer, then the third layer. They're asking you the number of layers for this one would just be 3. Okay, number of cubes would be 4, number of layers 3. How many cubes altogether? Okay, so we're taking a step out now. And number of cubes in the base. Use cubes to work out how many different prisms you can make with 24 cubes. Okay, so you can have a think about that, about which ways you can divide 24 up to make a rectangular prism, and how many layers would it have. Okay, that you are going to be doing pages 220 and 221.